Have you ever waited for your father to say, I love you? Have you ever wondered if silence means distance or something deeper? Because my father never said those words to me, not once, not when I was a child, not when I left home, not even on my birthdays. And for a long time, I believed something was missing. I grew up watching other families, fathers hugging their children, fathers saying, I'm proud of you, fathers speaking words that felt warm and easy. But in my house, things were different. My father was quiet. He didn't talk much. He didn't smile often. And he never showed affection the way I expected. When I was young, I tried to understand him. But as I grew older, I started to feel something else. Distance. I remember one night clearly. I was about 15. I had just finished a school performance. It wasn't perfect, but I tried my best. Other parents came to their children with flowers, with hugs, with loud voices full of pride. I kept looking around, searching for my father, and then I saw him, standing far away, watching quietly. When I walked toward him, my heart was beating fast. I thought, maybe today would be different. Maybe today he would smile. Maybe today he would say something, anything. But when I reached him, he simply said, let's go home. It's late. That was it. No, good job. No, I'm proud of you. No, I love you. Just silence again. That night, something changed inside me. I stopped expecting. I stopped hoping. And slowly, I stopped sharing things with him. Years passed. We lived in the same house, but in different worlds. We talked when necessary. We ate at the same table, but emotionally, we were strangers. I told myself, maybe he just doesn't know how to love. Or worse, maybe he doesn't love me at all. So I left. I moved to another city, started my own life. And just like that, the distance between us became normal. We called sometimes, short conversations, simple questions. Are you eating well? Is work okay? Always practical, never emotional, and always missing something. By the time I turned 30, I thought I had accepted it, that my father was just not that kind of person. That love was something he didn't know how to express. But then, something happened. Something small, something simple, something I almost didn't notice. And it changed the way I saw everything. It didn't come with words. It didn't come with a hug. But somehow, it said everything he never could. It happened on an ordinary day. Nothing special, no birthday, no holiday, no big event. Just a quiet afternoon, like many others. I had just come home from work, tired, hungry, and not really in the mood to talk to anyone. My phone buzzed. It was my father. I stared at the screen for a few seconds. We hadn't spoken in weeks. I almost ignored it, just like I had done so many times before. But for some reason, I answered. Hello? His voice came through, steady as always. Are you home? I paused. Yes, I just got back. There was a short silence. I'm nearby, he said. I'll come by. Before I could ask anything, he hung up. That was how he always was. Direct, simple, no extra words. I looked around my small apartment. It was a mess. Clothes on the chair, dishes in the sink. I sighed, but didn't bother cleaning. If it was anyone else, I might have tried. But with him, it didn't matter. About 30 minutes later, there was a knock on the door. When I opened it, he was standing there, same as always. Simple shirt, worn-out shoes, quiet eyes. But there was something in his hands, a small plastic bag. He stepped inside without saying much, placed the bag on the table. I bought some food, he said. You probably haven't eaten. I looked at the bag. It was my favorite dish, The one I used to eat all the time when I still lived at home. I hadn't told him that in years. How did you know? I asked. He shrugged slightly. You used to like it. Used to. That word stayed with me. Because the truth was, I still liked it. I just never said it out loud. We sat down, ate together, in silence, like always. But this time, the silence felt different, less distant, less cold. After a few minutes, I noticed something. He wasn't eating much, just small bites. Slow, careful. Are you okay? I asked. He nodded. Just not very hungry. I didn't think too much about it at first, but then I saw his hands. They looked rougher than I remembered, thinner and slightly shaking. Something felt off. You came all the way here just to bring me food? I asked. He didn't look at me. Just passing by, he said, but I knew that wasn't true. He never came just passing by. There was always a reason, even if he didn't say it. After we finished eating, he stood up. I should go, he said. That was it. No long visit, no conversation. Just like always. He walked to the door, put on his shoes, then paused for a second, like he wanted to say something. I waited, but he didn't. He just nodded slightly and left. I stood there, watching the door close, and for some reason, I didn't feel empty this time. I looked back at the table, at the empty food containers, at the small plastic bag he had brought, and then I noticed something inside, a receipt, folded neatly. I picked it up. It wasn't just for the food. There was something else printed on it, something I didn't expect, something that made my chest tighten. And for the first time, I started to realize maybe my father had been saying something all along, just not with words. I held the receipt in my hand and stared at it longer than I expected. At the bottom, under the food items, there was something else. Medicine. A list of medications I didn't recognize. The total was higher than it should have been, for just one meal. My chest tightened. Why would he buy medicine and not mention it? I looked at the time printed on the receipt, just 1 hour before he came to see me. That meant he had gone somewhere first, somewhere important. And then he came to me. I slowly sat down. The room felt quieter than before, different. I picked up my phone, and for the first time in a long while, I called him. It rang a few times. Then he answered. Yes. His voice sounded normal, calm, like always. I saw the receipt, I said. There was a pause, a small one, but enough for me to notice. It's nothing, he replied. Just 2 words. Simple, but not convincing. What medicine is that? I asked. Another pause, longer this time. You don't need to worry, he said. That sentence again. The same one he had used my whole life. When things were hard, when money was tight, when he was tired. You don't need to worry. But I did. For the first time, I really did. Are you sick? I asked quietly. Silence. I could hear his breathing on the other end, slow, heavy. I'm fine, he finally said. But something in his voice had changed. It was softer, almost careful, like he was trying to protect me, just like he always had. I'm coming home this weekend, I said suddenly. The words surprised even me. There was another pause. Then he said, No need, you're busy. Busy. That word again. The same excuse I had used for years. The same distance I had created. I'm coming, I repeated. This time, more firmly. He didn't argue. Okay, he said quietly. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about his hands, the way they shook slightly, the way he didn't eat much, the way he avoided my questions. All the small things I had ignored before, or maybe never noticed. I realized something uncomfortable. For years, I thought he didn't care enough to express love, but maybe I didn't care enough to see it, because love doesn't always look the way we expect. Sometimes it looks like a quiet visit, a simple meal, a plastic bag placed gently on a table. Sometimes it looks like medicine you don't talk about, sacrifices you hide, pain you carry, alone, just so someone else doesn't have to feel it. The next morning, I woke up early, packed a small bag, and for the first time in years, I was going home. Not because I had to, not because it was a holiday, but because something inside me finally understood. There were things I needed to see, things I needed to ask, and maybe things I needed to feel before it was too late. The journey home felt longer than usual. Maybe because this time, I wasn't just going back. I was going to face something I had avoided for years. When I arrived, the house looked the same gate, the same walls, the same quiet feeling in the air. Oh, but something inside me had changed. I opened the door slowly. My mother was in the kitchen. She turned when she heard me and froze for a second. "You're home?" she said, surprised. I nodded. I wanted to visit. She smiled, but there was something behind it, something tired, something she didn't say. "Your father is resting," she added. "He's been tired lately." Tired. That word again. Why did everything suddenly sound different? I walked toward his room. Each step felt heavier, like I already knew. Something wasn't right. The door was slightly open. I pushed it gently, and there he was, lying on the bed, not sleeping deeply, just resting. But even from the doorway, I could see it clearly now. He looked thinner, much thinner. His face had changed, not just older, but weaker. For a moment, I couldn't move. This wasn't the man I remembered. This wasn't the strong, silent figure who never seemed to break. This was someone who had been carrying something alone for a long time. I stepped closer. The floor creaked softly. His eyes opened. And when he saw me, there was that same look. Not surprise, not confusion, just calm. "You came," he said. Those two words again. Simple, but full of something I couldn't explain. I sat down beside him. This time, I didn't wait. "I saw the medicine," I said quietly. He didn't answer. He just looked at me. Then, slowly, he looked away. "It's nothing serious," he said. The same words, the same tone, the same way of hiding things. But this time, I didn't accept it. "How long?" I asked. Silence. "How long have you been sick?" He took a slow breath, like he had been holding that answer inside for too long. "A while," he said. A while. That can mean months, years. And suddenly, everything made sense. The shorter calls, the simple questions, the quiet visits. He wasn't distant. He was careful. Careful not to worry me. Careful not to interrupt my life. Careful to carry everything alone. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. My voice wasn't angry, just heavy. He smiled slightly. "You were busy?" he said, that word again. But this time, it didn't sound like an excuse. It sounded like love, the kind that stays silent, the kind that doesn't ask for attention, the kind that protects even when it hurts. I looked at him, really looked this time, at his tired eyes, at his weak hands, at everything I had missed. And for the first time in my life, I felt it clearly, not in words, not in hugs, but in everything he had done and never said. My father had always loved me. I just didn't know how to see it. Until now. I stayed home longer than I planned. Days turned into a week turned into more. And for the first time in years, I wasn't in a hurry to leave. Life outside could wait, but here, every moment felt important. Every small detail mattered. I started noticing things I had never paid attention to before. The way my father walked more slowly now, the way he held the wall sometimes, just for balance, the way he pretended to be fine, even when he wasn't. And yet, he never complained, not once. Every morning, he still woke up early, still asked if I had eaten, still told my mother not to worry, still lived, like nothing had changed. One afternoon, I found him sitting outside, just looking at the sky, quiet, peaceful. I walked over and sat beside him. We didn't speak at first. We didn't need to. After a while, he said softly, "When you were a child, you used to sit here with me." I smiled faintly. "I don't remember," I said. He nodded. "That's okay," he replied. "I do." That sentence stayed with me because it made me realize something. Even when I forgot, he never did. All the small moments, all the simple days, they mattered to him more than I ever understood. "I'm sorry," I said quietly. This time, I didn't hold back. For not calling, for not coming home, for everything. He didn't look at me. He just kept watching the sky. Then he said something I will never forget. "You were living your life," he said. "That's what I wanted." No blame, no regret, just acceptance and love. The kind of love that doesn't need words. The kind of love that gives without asking anything back. I felt something in my chest, tight and warm at the same time. "I'll stay," I said. "For as long as you need." He shook his head slightly. "Stay because you want to," he said, "not because you feel guilty." That was my father. Even now, he was still thinking about me first. That evening, we had dinner together. Just like before. Simple food, quiet conversation. But this time, it felt different. Not distant, not empty. It felt full, real, and finally, complete. If you are listening to this right now, and you've been waiting for your parents to say something, to express love in a way you understand, maybe they already have, just not with words. Look closer, at the small things, at the quiet actions, at the sacrifices they never talk about. Because love doesn't always sound like "I love you." Sometimes it looks like showing up, like bringing you food, like staying silent so you don't have to worry. And one day, you might finally understand it, just like I did, at 30. Thank you for listening. If this story reminded you of your parents, maybe it's time to call them.